Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James, schooloftrade.com, sidewaysmarkets.com. It's October 14th, 2010. Welcome to your live trading recap. Well, we had kind of a rocky start this morning. Pretty slow in the markets at the open, but boy, our patience paid off really well. Took over 80 ticks out of the market in the last half an hour of the morning. Want to make sure you guys stick around towards the end of this video to see those last couple of trades we took on crude this morning. Before we talk about the trades we took today, guys, I want to remind you guys about our blog. If you're on the blog right now, don't forget, make sure you guys are following the blog. Click that follow button right there. That way you get all the new updates when it's sent out. Don't forget, you can also search our entire blog for any topics you guys have, so use that search box. There's always someone standing by for support. You get your live support button there. And then don't forget, guys, two important sections on this blog. Up above here, guys, right above here, click on Trade Room Resources. Trade Room Resources has so much free information there, guys, about everything we talk about in the live trade room. If you're a guest, if you're a trial guest, it can be a great place to go. If you want to know what type of chart types we use, or how we're scalpers or day traders, or the markets we trade, or maybe you want to know more about the dollar correlation, right? Go to Trade Room Resources. Then don't forget, we've recorded all of our previous webinars and we put them right there under tutorials and live webinars. So check out that as well, right above on our blog. All right, guys, get to use the blog. Use it every day. Let's see how we did. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 total trades, 156 ticks, 1560. So 156 ticks. We traded gold and we traded crude today. Russell was flat. Euro was flat. So we basically focused on the gold and crude. Gold was pretty much useless today as well. Had a couple trades on gold. Got started off on gold, but then gold went pretty much flat the rest of the morning here. We'll show you guys more about that. Crude was the big mover today. We had inventories at 11 o'clock today, so we knew we had a little bit of a challenge with crude this morning because we had to wait for that 11 o'clock news to come out, right, later in the week and later in the morning. Usually we have the news for crude on Wednesdays at 10:30. This week it was Thursday at 11 o'clock. So it kind of threw a little bit of sand in the mix for those crude traders this morning. So we had to be a little patient. Our patience paid well. 156 ticks, 1560. That brings our weekly total, guys, $5,600 over 5,600 USD for the week. 4 contracts, 17,000 for the month. Guys, 17,000 for the month. We made 33,000 in July. 26,000 in August. We had a half month in September, made 17,000 there, and now here in October, got a nice big full month here. We've already made 17 grand, and we're not even halfway through. This is going to be a pretty good month for us. We made 10 grand last week, just shy of 6 grand this week, guys. And we're hoping tomorrow, OPEX Friday, is going to be a pretty good Friday as well. 167,000 for the year, guys, and we're going to keep you guys posted the rest of the week. Let's keep moving. Now, what was the most important that happened today? What happened today? Very slow start. Right? Very slow start. Okay, dollar tumbled last night. If you guys were watching that dollar tumbled late yesterday, went sideways this morning for us, right? Sideways in the dollar meant sideways everything else, and then the dollar began to jump. When that dollar began to jump, we were sitting there waiting to sell gold, to sell the crude. So our patience paid off. The dollar late in the morning began to rise. That caused everything to fall, and we were sitting there waiting for that to take the short. Okay, everything jumped to the highs. We then sold those highs as they come back down. Okay, gold was sideways all day. We had new highs on gold yesterday. We came down off those highs today, traded sideways on gold. That made it more difficult for us, obviously. You're going to watch here, guys, in this video today. We're going to watch how we traded gold using that sideways range, buying above the highs, right? Buying the breakouts, selling, right? Selling the failures. So we traded gold that sideways range, but gold had very low average to range, low ATR, low speed, and with that sideways dollar, we knew everything was going to be higher risk this morning on the gold. All right, guys? Now, it all starts with our morning prep. All right, our morning prep is some of the most important stuff you guys will ever see here, guys. If you're not, right, if you're not waking up early and coming in for our morning prep every morning at 7:45, you're missing out, guys. You're really missing out. That's the best part of our day because it gets everything ready to go for the rest of the morning in front of us. Here we are on the dollar. The dollar was pretty easy today, right? What do we see in the dollar? Well, first of all, we noticed right away we had this big tumble on the dollar from yesterday, right? The dollar keeps getting pounded here. We also noticed, too, comparing the trading ranges today, the trading range this morning was very, very narrow compared to the one yesterday. So what do we notice? Right, we were outside. Okay, wait, we broke to the downside, so we broke below. That was an outside day. That, of course, turned inside. right? Because what happened was the dollar went sideways, then the dollar began to rise, right? And the dollar is trying to test these highs up top here, right? The dollar is trying to test those highs. So the dollar is rising again. It was an outside day to begin with, then pops back into the trading range above us, then becomes an inside day. Inside days always mean, right, obviously less moves, right? Inside days are not going to have the big powerful moves, the breakout moves we like to see. Inside days are a challenge. We know we've got very narrow range here, right? This is a very narrow range. We can tell that the trading range in the dollar here, very, very narrow when you compare it to the trading range from yesterday. Okay, so narrow trading range, inside day, right? Obviously here with the dollar rising, that tells us everything should be falling. So we had lots of upside potential in the dollar, which meant look for the shorts on crude, euro, right? Everything else we trade. All right, guys, there's my dollar. So the big thing here was narrow trading range. That was the big thing. While we were in this trading range in the dollar, we had to be really careful. And what I did was, you can see I marked up the highs at 790, the lows of 480, and I basically said, I'm going to wait here now until this dollar breaks the highs or breaks the lows. Okay, at that point, then the market was moving, and that's when I want to start trading. Well, of course, it happened at about 9 o'clock this morning. We had the dollar break the highs. When the dollar broke the highs, everything else began moving. Now we took our first trade of the day here on crude, and now you can see on crude here, here's my slower time frame. Now this is my 21 range chart, which means it's going to be great for day traders, position traders, similar to an 8 to a 15-minute chart. Now what do we see here? I see a channel high, I see a channel low, right? I'm sorry, wedge high, wedge low, right? Two trend lines there. Now what do we do with the wedge, guys? What with the wedge? Well, with the wedge, I'm going to sell the highs and buy the lows, right? Sell the highs, buy the lows. I'm going to wait for take a short here up at the highs. I'll buy the lows here, 81s, right? Inside the wedge. Now, what ended up happening is we actually saw a pattern here. Come over here. Okay, what ended up happening was, here's my wedge again, right? There's that wedge high, there's that wedge low, and so you can see here, there was our first trade of the day, okay, breaking out above the wedge, and then of course you can see we came up, tested the highs, come back down over, and we took the short here now, selling the highs. All right, guys? So again, we broke above the wedge, right? Break above the wedge, I'm going to buy the breakout. I'm then going to test the highs. You get the previous high of day up top here. And guys, whenever I'm trading around that previous high of day, right, above the previous highs were bulls, below the previous highs were bears. We tested the previous highs up top here, couldn't get it done to the upside, so we come reversing back down. So we sold the highs, right? That was pretty much what our day consisted of. Okay, once we broke above that wedge, that gave us our first couple trades long here on crude. We then tested those highs, sold those highs, and came right on back down. All right, let's see how we did. Now again, here's those first couple trades, guys. Now this is my 13 range chart. I like my 13 range chart because it's perfect for day traders. Okay, here's my 13 range. Now 13 range, this is going to be similar to a 3 to a 5-minute chart. And I love this chart because it really gives me just enough information so I'm taking quite a few trades every day, right? So I'm not sitting here waiting all day long. But at the same time, it's not too slow, so I have to have too much risk in the market.